Greetings, this is Kevin Jefferson with this week's Trade Theory, the week of July the 8th, 2025. We're looking at the Bitcoin chart and we see what price has done since last week's message. Price has hit the bearish area of interest that I set previously, hit there, and so it's technically in a level one short. The rejection off of that area has shown that price is still not cleared above the previous swing high. Price has hit the reset point that I set on the 24th of June, as I mentioned, and as it stands right now, I still will be looking for a sell trade at a minimum until price closed and broke and closed above the 110, 277.13 area. But at this point, I'm looking for price to continue bearish at some point. Right now, I wouldn't, unless I had a clean entry, which there might be one on the lower levels. I would get in at a sell and set my stop up here somewhere in this area. So I'm still bearish on Bitcoin right now. Let me go to WTI. WTI crude is pulling back off of those highs that I mentioned. It's back at the weekly pullback point that's been in place since, I think, back in June. Yeah, June 10th. I had that set there, so it's doubling around there. And what I expect to happen is price to at least reset back down to around the 64.253 range. But this may actually be the beginning or continuation of that downside movement that I've been speaking about for almost a month now. So looking for oil to decrease in price in the coming weeks as well. All right, moving out to gold. Gold is still bullish, as I've mentioned. I had an upside target up here that I set on the 19th. It hadn't quite hit there, but price has hit the reset point that I mentioned back on the 24th of June, and that means that there's a good bounce opportunity for price to pull off of there and continue high. We've got one more pullback, and I think that would be a good one. That would be a good one if price comes back down here and gives us a buy entry here to get in. If price closes back down below the roughly around the 31.77.37 area, then I look for price to potentially start the shift directions. But right now I'm looking for a pullback and a buy on gold, so I'm bullish on gold. All right, looking at the US 30, or also known as the Dow Jones, it's passed through that area of interest obviously for the last couple of weeks, and I have this as a possible pullback point here around the 43.696 area for price to pull back to. So like as I mentioned, we'd have a few days of downward pressure after such a large move, which is completely normal, and so price is pulling back to potentially and expectedly continue long. We'll watch that once price gets down there because we did have 3 pushes higher, which could come back and reset down to what I call the close to the target zero area, which is roughly around the 41.518.81. But right now we'll just watch for this pullback and look for a continuation long on the Dow. Going to the NASDAQ, same here, possible more shallow pullback point, maybe to around the 22.371.80 area here. It could be one more push higher before it does that, but looking for price to pull back in the midst of this upward movement on the NASDAQ. So still bullish on NASDAQ as it stands right now. And then finally wrapping it up with the S&P 500. Price passed through that loose extension point that I didn't measure, but just kind of had as a projected upside area of interest, if you will. And price is pulling back off of that number, and we're looking at a pullback to at least around the 61.96.12 area in the next day or so. And then we'll assess to see for potential upside opportunity here as well. So price is bullish obviously on the indices, it's bullish on gold, WTI crude is bearish, and Bitcoin is bearish. So take that, look for those opportunities where you will, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful trading week and happy trading.